think with the Zoom option,
Oh, it's
you
wonderful.
know, for people in the city, except of course, maybe
Or people
where do you
working.
live, Jack?
I'm Skokie.
You're Skokie.
Yeah, people that couldn't make it. Sick, whatever.
Right.
I think it's wonderful.
All right, wait, we have water for everybody. Hold on. Hey,
You just take care of yourself.
thank you for coming. Thank you, thank you. Oh,
Jackie just filled me in on it.
Tuesday funeral.
Yeah,
There was the
good.
funeral family.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
good. Okay. All right, wait, we have water for everybody. Hold on. I'm done. Sorry, I know. Right.
Oh, well, thank you.
We have flowers.
Flower
We're not
butter.
allowed to bring flowers. And I Hi, Dawn. I don't know. Hi. How are you? You too.
How's your
Hi. What the what?
Shoes are so cute.
Oh, thank you. They're really comfortable. They're like gym shoes.
Will you see this?
Right? I don't know. That way.
Well, no, Rio's husband.
No, I know. I know. We're cousins.
Begin. The family has also made available water in this cooler. If anyone should need some, please don't hesitate. Conducting our service today is Rabbi Andrea Koznowski.
Babe, here. Oh, that's you?
Honey, sit next to Dan.
I will.
So I'm going to ask the three of you, because you're wearing Korean ribbons, to please rise.
Also, I am going to say a little tiny thing.
When am I passing this?
I'm telling you, baby.
Nope.
During the seat.
Huh?
She'll trigger you
Okay.
and you'll have a cue and you'll come
Great.
up and you'll pass me the card for the
I
schmidt.
want the cue.
Yeah.
Can I grab a, do you have an extra?
You are the schmidt.
Oh,
Yes.
It's like a movie.
Thank you.
Wait, can I tell the sound man? Sir, they're saying, my relative just texted me that the sound is going in and out or whatever that means. I'm not sure, but. Wi-Fi probably.
Unless you
No,
have another
I'm
one?
good.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
good.
All right, then I'll steal
Oh, I
that.
need another one.
Or you need one. Okay, perfect.
But I see my purse. This purse is kind of like hard to get stuff out of.
We have a house in Michigan.
So we're going to offer this blessing to show that the fabric of our lives is forever changed, and like the fabric, our hearts are torn. Baruch atah Adonai, Dayan ha'emet.
Either way, not downtown.
On the left-hand side of your heart, to show that there's a special bond to your parent. She's the one Jesus wearing on the right-hand side.
You go. Thank you. Does anyone else need a program? Service folder, anyone?
Evening fades and withers. You cause us to revert to dust, saying, "Return, O mortal creatures." Would that we were wise, that we understood whither we are going, for when we die, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright. They shall have peace, God. You redeem the soul of your servants, and none who trust in you shall be desolate. The time of mourning is a complicated time filled with many emotions and memories, and so we begin our service with a recitation of psalms and prayers, linking Barbara's life with the 5,000-year-old tradition of the people Israel and the eternality of God. In the words of Ecclesiastes, we read, "A season is set for everything, a time for every experience under heaven, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to pull down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to embrace and a time to let go, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time for silence and a time for speech, a time to be born and a time to die. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai mi ya'agor beha'alecha mi yishkon bahar kadshecha, a psalm of David. Do we deserve to enter God's sanctuary? Can we merit a place in the presence of God? Live with integrity, do what is right, speak the truth without deceit. Have no slander upon your tongue, do no evil to others, do not mistreat your neighbor. Spurn a contemptible person, but honor those who revere Adonai. Never retract a promise once made, though it may bring you harm. Lend no money at unfair rates. Accept no bribe against the innocent. Make these deeds your own. Then shall you stand firm forever. The way of God is perfect and pure, and God is a shield to all who seek refuge. We are here together to mourn the death of Barbara Goldfarb and celebrate her life. With her death, our lives are forever changed. We stand together at one of life's most natural and unnatural moments. Death silences us with the power to take from us, without concern for the pain that it leaves in the wake. Knowing that our words are inadequate, we still have to use them to attempt to capture the depth of the pain that touches our hearts today, and also to celebrate that the life Barbara lived. So I'm going to start with speaking to her brother Jerry. There is no way to be fully prepared for the death of a sister, and we're so sorry for your sorrow today. And to Darcy, to Jeffrey and Philip, to lose your mom is devastating, but I hope that you'll take comfort in knowing how much you meant to her. When you were born, she fulfilled her true calling to be a mom. She was so devoted to you, and you to her. You were the lights of her life. Jeffrey, I know how close you were with her, and Darcy, your love and personal attention to her in her final years added years to her life, as well as life to her years. But if her children were the sun and moon, her grandchildren were the stars. To Jenna, Michaela, Daniel, and Emily, your grandmother loved you. She spoke of you with such pride, and you brought her so much joy. And we grieve with you in your sorrow today. And so we gather together to celebrate life and to embrace the sorrow that we feel at her departure, to mourn and celebrate, feeling a loss and an emptiness, a void which never again will be filled, but also the idea that she is now fully at peace. We can't speak of Barbara without reading a part of the book of Proverbs, the Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor. These words come from Proverbs. A woman of valor who can find. She is more precious than corals. Her husband places his trust in her and profits only thereby. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She opens her hand to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. She has no fear of the snow, for her household, for all of her household, is dressed in fine clothing. She is robed with strength and dignity. She smiles at the future. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and a lesson of kindness is on her tongue. Her children rise up and make her happy. Her husband praises her. Give her credit for the fruit of her labors, and let her achievements praise her. Grace is elusive and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears God, she shall be praised. Many women have excelled, but you, Barbara, excel them all. And so I'm going to invite Barbara's grandson, Daniel, to come and speak for a moment.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming today. For those of you who are on Zoom, thanks for logging in. So, we're here to honor my grandmother, who I affectionately knew as Grandma Baba. Not really sure where that came from, but That's what she was known as, and that's what stuck. So we can agree that my Grandma Baba was a lot of things. It may be easier to start with what she wasn't before we get to what she was. She was not quiet. She was not afraid to speak her mind. She was not someone whose bad side you wanted to get on. And I think most importantly, we can all agree that for the last months of her life, she was not the woman everyone knew and loved. That's why I want to focus on what she was and the things that I remember the most. Ever since I was a little boy, going to Grandma's house was always the highlight of our years. The 4-hour flight, not so much, but getting there was always amazing. I remember Grandma Baba coming to pick us at the airport with Yofi in the car and a big smile on her face. I remember being made the best scrambled eggs of my life every morning in the beautiful Arizona weather. I remember picking grapefruits off the tree when I was little in her backyard. She would lift me up to grab the biggest one. I also remember the great Thanksgivings we had when we were there, most notably when the Bears upset the Packers at Lambeau. And finally, I most notably remember being told nice one after every burp I made at the dinner table, much to the dismay of my mother. Throughout my life, until she could no longer move, my Grandma Baba was the most supportive, most loving, and most fun grandmother I could ask for. She came to every single one of my events throughout my life. She came to all my baseball games, which often went out for hours, with dirt blowing in her face, and she never complained. She came to tons of my hockey games, where it would get so cold her behind almost froze to the metal seats. But again, she never complained, just cheered in the stands. She flew in to see me in all of my school plays from JK and beyond, the most famous of which was Beauty and the Beast, where I was chipped the teacup with a saucer strapped to my head. She came to my high school graduation to see me sing on stage all the way in the back row of the choir, again, beaming with pride. Then, of course, after all these events, it was time for the obligatory Chicago dog with all the trimmings. Definitely not ketchup, too. One thing I definitely remember, is that she could eat a lot. After she downed the hot dog, it was time for the fries with the mandatory chocolate shake. There were times where she would even out-eat me, which says quite a bit. Then it was time to plan the next meal. She was definitely a unique person and definitely played by her own rules. That's why today we should mourn, but also celebrate, a person who brought such joy into my life. She always knew how to do the unexpected, make my mom cringe, and me laugh. So from now on, every time I burp, I will silently whisper, "Nice one, Grammy," and look up at the sky. Grandma, I love you very much. And I'm so grateful for all our adventures. I'm happy that you will now be at peace and reunited again with Papa Irwin in heaven. I'll miss you. Thanks.
Emily wanted to say a few words as well.
Mine is on my phone, so just give me a second. Okay. Grammy Baba was a wonderful grandma. I was always very excited when she came to Chicago to visit for Grandma's Day. Sorry if that's flying away. At school, or when she watched me in my plays or at my recitals. She loved to do a lot of things with me, whether that be taking me Black Friday shopping at 5 in the morning, or watching Beetlejuice, or going to brunch and seeing different plays. She was really funny even when she didn't mean to be. When we went to see the Book of Mormon, I was around 11, and she tried to cover my eyes during most of it and my ears, so I wouldn't hear it. She was very funny in her classic morning routine of watching Fox News, with the smell of coffee and scrambled eggs filling the kitchen at like 6 in the morning. And I also loved to wake up to her on those days and have early mornings together for a few moments before everybody else woke up. She made the best lunchtime bowl of pasta, followed up by watching 2.5 Men until she fell asleep, snoring very loudly. And eventually I would have to leave her bed and go to the couch, but I liked starting there. I also loved going Easter egg hunting with my friends and her, and tanning and swimming in the pool and laying on her fuzzy carpet in the bathroom. I could go on forever, but I will end here. Grammy, I'm so glad that I got to see you a few weeks ago when you were alive, and I love you forever and always, Emmy.
And finally, I'm going to invite forward Barbara's daughter, Darcy.
Okay, mine's a little longer. And it's big type, so don't get nervous. It's not that long. Barbie, Barb, Babs. These were the names that reverberated through my house during my childhood. Where's Barb? Was the call from the Block Bridge Club ladies looking to plan a game. When I picked up the phone and heard, "Where's Barbie?" I knew it was Marilyn. Babs is what I called her to my friends. I'm not sure she liked that one. But her favorite name her favorite name in the world was Mrs. G. Nothing made my mom happier than when my dad came through the garage door looking for her, calling, "Where's Mrs. G? Where's Mrs. G?" with unbridled excitement in his voice. He would then go from the kitchen to the laundry room to the front yard searching her out. If he did find her in the front yard planting, he would start smooching her with kisses and roll around with her on the front lawn in front of everyone who happened to be walking by, even my friends. I will admit this was mortifying to me as a child, but looking back, it is a wonderful memory. My mom grew up in Danville, Illinois, a small town in southern Illinois with parents Millie and Dave Simon and her brother Jerry. My Papa Dave owned Simon's Shoe Repair. Visiting Danville from Chicago was nirvana for my brothers and me. We had never seen the flashing blue light of a Kmart special before and thought this only existed in Danville. We thought my mom was so lucky to grow up in a town with cows and Kmart as their main store. But Barbara Ann had other plans. She decided to attend nursing school at the University of Illinois in Chicago, a huge step for a small town girl. But it was at Cook County Hospital that she met her future husband and the love of her life. What better romance story than a surgical resident falling in love with a newly minted nurse? They moved to Florida, but then back to Chicago to put down roots. My dad's siblings, Benny, Ethel, and Ann, all lived within 15 minutes of us. Marilyn, Milty, and Irving, the famous cousins, were part of the clan as well. Soon after came nieces Jackie, Marcia, and Lynn. My mom loved having the extended family over for Sunday night chop suey, Thanksgiving dinners, and the not-to-be-missed epic 4th of July pool parties. She certainly was not the best cook, but could do decorations better than most. See a family resemblance, anybody? Not sure. With my brothers, Jeffrey and Philip, we lived on Riverside Drive, and although we each had chores, I have to say, it was a pretty good gig. Of course, my job was picking up the dog poop into a coffee can, but I won't go into that now. We had a forest preserve in our backyard and spent hours looking through binoculars at cardinals, foxes, and other critters that dwelled back there. My mom loved to plant, and every year, pink and white petunias were prominently found sprouting along the entire walkway to our house. In honor of my mom's love of flowers, you all have flower stickers on your water bottles. This is so she can be surrounded by a garden before her final send-off. My mom also taught me one of the most valuable lessons of my life early on, one that has truly been my guiding light. As kids, we would sometimes make rounds with my dad, and he often took care of indigent families at the hospital. My mother would always state, "Don't ever forget that just because people are poor, it doesn't mean they don't love their children just as much as everybody else." That statement, repeated innumerable times, resonated with me and guided my career choice in taking care of those less fortunate in society. Life was pretty charmed until I graduated from college. Then, much like the novel The Tale of Two Cities, The Tale of Two Barbaras was written. My dad died tragically of a heart attack he suffered at an early morning meeting at the hospital. He was 52 and she was 47. This was the pivotal, defining moment of her life going forward. I can honestly say I have spent the last 42 years trying to make that loss up to her. She moved to Arizona and went on to have 4 children that she adored beyond belief. Jenna, Michaela, Daniel, and Emily were what kept her going. She defined the term hands-on grandma and earned the title Grammy Baba. There was no sandbox too dirty, no pool too cold, or no Play-Doh too toxic for her to enjoy with her grandkids. Toys, outfits, and stuffed animals started appearing in droves. Her love of a good Chicago dog with all the fixins was legendary, and Wiener Circle was the location of choice. So in honor of that, I'm going to pass around small packets of mustard for you to take home. When you eat your next kosher dog, please use the mustard and think of Babs. So pass it around. Yeah, go ahead. We traveled together, took road trips, and the mandatory Disney cruise of childhood, all of which she enjoyed beyond belief. She taught Daniel how to burp, Emily how to Black Friday shop. In other pursuits, she taught kindergarten in Israel and became a bat mitzvah at age 64. But through each and every milestone, a sadness always appeared with the words, "I wish Daddy could be here to see this." In her later years, our relationship became more complicated as she made choices I didn't always agree with. And then 6 years ago, she suffered a debilitating stroke. It has been a long, difficult journey since that day. I can look out today with my head held high, knowing that I did everything in my power to make her life comfortable, calm, and content. I made a promise to my dad the day he died that I would make him proud of me. I hope that by standing by my mom during the hardest years of her life, that I fulfilled that promise to him. I know she is finally at peace after waiting 42 years to be reunited with Erwin in heaven. I know it because I can feel it in my bones. So Mom, I'm going to include a Band-Aid for you to give to Dad for his handball hand, and when you see him, you can chase each other around in the petunia-filled gardens up in the clouds. I love you, and I will miss you.
There is a huge belief in traditional Judaism that this is only one of the worlds, and there is an olam haba, there is a world to come. And on our way to the world to come, there is a bridge where our animals come first to greet us. And I hope that even before she got to the olam haba, Yofi and Kelev were with her, greeting her. Also, she is joined in the cemetery by her family, Marilyn, Miley, and Irving. And she's finally at peace because she's right next to her Beshert, her meant-to-be. She is at peace, resting next to Erwin. And so this is a celebration of her life and that she is finally with him, as Darcy said. We stand together, celebrating and also bereft. We will miss Barbara. She graced our world, improved it, and enriched us, leaving a legacy of hope, of joy, and of love. There are no blessed deaths, but some are more peace-giving than others. We can't know the reasons for death, but we can face it with dignity and without despair. And I hope that this legacy that Barbara leaves to all of us will continue to inspire and guide us through all the days of our lives. And in this way, death can't separate her from us, for when we remember her love, she will continue to live on even in death. I'm going to ask if you have the program to please turn to the second page and let us read Psalm 23 together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In the book of the Ethics of our Fathers, it is written that Shimon Bar Yochai taught there are 3 crowns which people wear: the crown of learning, the crown of priesthood, and the crown of kingship. But the crown of a good name exceeds them all. And Barbara earned and wore that crown of a good name. Though death is strong, it can't take from us the memories we hold, the feelings we cherish, and the images forever etched upon our hearts and souls. Know that there were many more stories that we could tell and more people who could have shared them with us. And that's our job, is going forward. When we gather, we tell stories about Barbara's life. She would want us to celebrate her life by sharing stories and drawing comfort from doing so. And through them, we are forever bound to Barbara, whom we mourn today. For when we remember her smile and her love, she will continue to live on, even in death. I'm going to ask everyone, if you are able to do so, to please rise at this time. El male rachamim, shochen bamromim, hamitzei mechuna nechona, tachat kanfei hashchina, im kedoshim, utahorim, kazor harakia, mazhirim. Et nishmat Chana bat David shalalcha la'olama, Be'al harachamim yastireha b'setek nafav le'olamim, Vayitror b'tzorachayim et mishmata, Adonai hu nachalata, V'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava, V'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Barbara Goldfarb, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say together, Amen. Please be seated. In a few moments, after we lower the casket, I'm going to invite everyone into the mitzvah of helping to bury our loved ones. We are going to place some earth from Israel into the grave, and it is the idea that we can't all be buried in the land of Israel, but some of Israel can be buried with us. And then I'm going to invite everyone who cares to do so to take 3 shovelfuls of earth and place it into the grave. 3 is the number of intention. You can do something once by accident, twice by mistake, but 3, we mean to do it. And so we don't hand the shovel to the person behind you. You put it back into the pail, because we want to partake in this mitzvah, in this commandment, in this ritual on our own. If you do hand it to the person behind you, we'll talk about you later. It's okay. But it's the idea of each of us does this as a sign of love and respect. You don't need to be Jewish to partake in this ritual. We just invite you if you care to do so. And so we wait until the gentlemen are finished, and then we will continue, coming back together after to recite the Mourner's Kaddish.
customer, please come forward.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So when you go to the cemetery, go to the cemetery. Here we're relatively because so we, some of them are long, some of them are not. So it's what the cemetery needs us to do. So
Once you've participated, we'll ask that you come back down and be seated. Rabbi has closing prayers.
But we never have to touch, we never have to add her backfill, because the cemetery, because literally, it'll take a month before we, at least a month, before we restore them. So we make sure that it's the time we do prior to signing. And then it's just left for each other, and it stays relatively.
Sounds like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Really dry out, more so longer, right? And then when the family's
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We're going to ask everyone to come back under the tent so we can have our closing prayers.
Thank you, baby. Okay. All right. Friends, let's go ahead and finish with Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish.
Oh yeah, thanks so much. I pray.
And if you would like to follow along with the mourner's Kaddish, it's on the back of our prayer packet, our service program. And I'm going to ask everybody at this time to please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah bi'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agalalu v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam ulmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'ala kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. May all of you who mourn and know sorrow soon know comfort and peace, and let us say together, Amen.
Our services here are now concluded. In just a moment, the gentlemen from the cemetery are going to bring their equipment in and complete the burial. If you would like to stay and witness that final act, you're invited to do so. If in any way you find this disturbing, we would recommend that you return to your cars at this time. Thank you. They just have to cover it so they don't damage the marker when they bring the train off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, or whatever it is.
Right, and then we can get you something that's familiar to you and switch it up if that's. Because I think Suzanne said we were going to go home similarly to kind of traffic.
So, but that was from the airport, and that's, right? Didn't you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But,
I did.
I'm not good at I'm the New York transplant, and the only time I went to but the only time they gave me the I knew my way around, the only reason is because my daughter could travel soccer. So that's the only reason why I
But that's how you learn,
That's
right?
what I learned. Then I was in navigation. And my mother's in Lincoln.
Yeah. But that's not the point. It was really hard to get there. I mean,
I don't know where they were.
Right. This was actually not, it wasn't that long. I mean, nothing but when you follow your path, right?
Right.
A lot of dirt.
Yeah. So an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, wait, one more hot dog. One more hot
Let's do
dog.
a podcast.
Gets like one more to go. I'm not sure how to get out, so.
I know, you'll be driving around for like 10
Do you
hours.
know, does anybody know?
Yeah.
I think that if you just go out here and then turn left, that's the road I came in on.
Okay.
But I don't know, actually, I shouldn't say, but I don't know. That's what I'm gonna do.
Are you going now?
Oh, don't phone. That's always good.
Really? Well, then we'll all be lost together. We can cannibalize. We can get lost.
Yeah.
Or take them out.
Yeah. Oh, the young.
I was fun. I don't know.
I can't believe it when she's been married for 7 years.
Oh my God.
Yes. We actually did.
And
Yes,
how
I
Tom
agree.
takes care of
All right. So enjoy the weekend.
Unbelievable.
So I can't wait. How's the grandbaby, by the way? That's it. How's the grandbaby? There's 3 now. There's 3, yeah. And they're, yeah. They're two of them are coming to you. I'm flying to North Carolina.
That's a riot. Right, right. The laughter is the elixir.
Oh, there. I know, John's got 3 too, so we were just with him.
What he's
That's
unbelievable.
We have heart jewels that we're putting in the grave, and on top of it, and there's a bunch of colors.
I feel like they're self-centered, but it would like to be funny. His attitude is amazing. When your parents died, they were rabbis. And a friend of mine has died 7 years ago. His brother's a rabbi. I said, oh, you love him. And his name is Mark Joe. And this helped very much. So things
So you, again, you know Gary, this is for your sister.
Your prayer books, just in case.
I wonder if my mom is
Cost to send back to your signature.
No. Oh,
The
okay.
register book, candles, the large photo, and the extra service.
Oh,
This is heavy. Is your sign for you?
okay. Oh, oh, you're going with
When I get the death certificates, I'll let you know.
maybe I'll be
Figure out how to get
Yes.
them. I don't like putting them in mail because they get lost a lot. But maybe I'll have someone heading downtown.
Thank you for sharing.
Anything at all, that's great.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yes, we were. Such
It was tough at the end, but yeah, we made it
I
through.
have anything to read about it.
Yeah. I wish we had been able to check out these houses because we're really exploring. Yeah.
And that's going to give you the artist.
We were busy.
Guys,
But
Could we move the board off of her husband
Yeah.
for